Some years ago, my Fit for Life group had a friend at Central Community offer to pay for all of us to have a personal trainer at his gym for 12 weeks. It was an incredible offer. So we took advantage of it. About 8 or 10 of us went in. This personal trainer worked with us, and I think 2 of us lasted till the end of it. That was it. At the end of the 12 weeks, my friend said, "Hey, so how did it go for your class? Did they do?" I said, there was a lot of attrition. It was pretty tough. Your personal trainer pushed us pretty hard." He said, "Well, do you want to do it again?" I said, "Well, there's only 2 of us who made it to the end." He said, "Great, it's going to be that much cheaper. I'll pay for another 12 weeks. So he paid for the next 12 weeks. Just the 2 of us showed up, and I'll never forget the first day of that second 12 weeks because the guy, good personal trainer, he sat down with us. He had all of our records from the last 12 weeks with us. He looked at the one who was with me, and he asked her, "Well, what are your goals for the next 12 weeks? What would you like to accomplish?" She had a list of things, and then he looked at me, and I was ready. I kind of knew this guy by then, and he said, "What are your goals, Eric, for the next 12 weeks?" I looked at him. I said, "Just one simple one. I want to be able to touch my toes." I've never been able to touch my toes. Maybe in elementary school, I don't remember it, but I work at it on a pretty regular basis. He said, "Well, I was thinking about, numbers of reps, amount of strength building, how big you want your chest, how small you want your waistline, just how much weight you might like to lose." I wasn't thinking about something like that. I was saying, "Yeah, but I'm thinking about this. I have one goal for 12 weeks. And that's I want to be able to touch my toes." He said, "Okay, if that's your goal, I'll write it down." He wrote it down. I didn't miss a class session for the next 12 weeks going to that gym. And not once did he do an exercise focused on helping me touch my toes. Not once did he come and say, "Okay, Eric, this was your goal. Let's get to this today." He did everything that he did for the other person, everything I'm suspecting he does for everyone that they teach these trainers to do. He seemed to have kind of a package deal that he did. He asked us what we wanted, but he didn't go out of his way to make sure that we got what we wanted. And if there's one thing I've learned in life, if you want to make people happy and if you want to be able to really meet their needs, you have to know what their needs are. And to know what their needs are, you need to ask them, you need to talk to them, you need to listen to them. And then once you actually hear their needs, once they tell you, "This is what I want to accomplish with my life," you need to work towards not your goals, and not the goals that maybe you've learned in some prepackaged plan of you do this across a 12-week session, but instead actually finding out, well, how do I meet the goals of this person? And then working towards those goals. One of the reasons I don't run in Mexico often is because not the people, anything like that, and not because I'm afraid of the community, but because of the dogs. There are dogs everywhere. Right now I've got 2 big dogs looking at me and barking at me. I have to figure out how to yell at them in Spanish. I'm out at the end of a little peninsula. You can see the ocean behind me. And if anything really great were to happen right now, it would be that someone would realize I'm stranded with dogs between me and Siempre here. But you see, I really wanted to go for a run. I knew the situation with the dogs if I ran this direction. So it's not the dog's fault. It's not the owner's fault. It's nobody's fault but my fault for coming this direction. I knew what I was getting myself into. Do you know what you're getting yourself into? And once you get yourself into that, do you know who to ask for help to get yourself out of that? You can see the dog over here barking his head off at me. I've had to yell at numerous dogs this morning coming down through here trying to figure out in Spanish. I think about knowing what we get ourselves into when I see this building. This is the church that Pastor Aldo had the vision to build down here. A year ago, he began work on it along with the people of his congregation. A year ago, Central Community stepped up alongside of him. A year ago, the Church of God in Whittier stepped up alongside of him, committed to it. And I want you to know, if there's one thing we've learned in Mexico, when you start to build something, you never know what you're getting yourself into. We had thought by this point we would be putting the 2nd level on the building. That's not happening yet. We had thought by this point we would be ready for massive steel girders to go across here, the top, and all of those things. That's not happening yet. Some of it's money. Because, it's just expensive. There's no 2 ways about it. Some of it's structural. Some of it's knowledge. Some of it's the number of workers that we have. But most of it is still just like that kid who asked me, do you know what you want in the next 12 weeks? What are your goals? And even when I knew what I wanted, even when I knew my goals, to be honest with you, he had no clue how to help an old guy touch his toes. If you do, give me a call. I'd love to find out how. I'll start working at it daily, I promise. Today, if you want to help people really meet their needs, you need to know their needs, first of all, and not go out there with your preconceived notion of what their needs are by looking at them, but ask them, what is it that they want to accomplish? Because once they have a reason from their heart of what they want to accomplish, they'll be able to meet their needs. And then all you have to do is show them how. And if you don't know how, learn how. Any one of us can learn how to help people meet their needs. Start studying, become a student for them on their behalf so that you can become a teacher for them on their behalf. You see, that's what it requires to become the miracle in life. To get all of this steel for this, just to raise the money for this, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take me sharing with people like you. If you have the money and you'd like to pay for all the steel that goes on top of this, you're invited to. You could be an honored guest here to look out at that ocean every single time. It's a beautiful morning like this. We could run together. I'd fend off the dogs for you or get bit on your behalf. I mean, we need to have the money. We need to have the knowledge. We need to have an engineering certificate from an engineer here in Mexico, who's a civil engineer, who's going to be able to say, yeah, this is going to be okay to put the steel on top of it and be able to have 300 or 400 people in that building on top of here. We need to have a lot of work done. But you see, when someone gave us this property, when Aldo had the vision for it, Aldo knew what he wanted to do in moving the church over here, but still didn't know exactly what that was going to take. And so what's happened is we've gotten done what we think needs to get done up until this point. And now we'll learn what's next. Aldo will learn what's next. The congregation will learn what's next. And we'll help them get to that spot. Today we're going to be working at Siempre, not here in the church. We're going to be working up there, putting up some new railing on the second floor and some other things that need to be replaced. If you want to come on down and join us. But most importantly, wherever you're at, if someone tells you what they need and you can help them, and if you can't help them, tell them you can't help them. But if you're a teacher and you're a helper, learn how to help them. Learn how to help them meet their goals. Listen to them, figure out what it is, and then be the miracle today for them. God bless you. Whisper a prayer that I get back up safely without being eaten alive by these big dogs barking at me in Spanish. Have a great day.